a letter to the Commission General and to the other members of the Commission, where we explained our considerations as to the future selection. Before I explain these considerations, I want to say straight out what are the reasons of this letter and what are our concerns. Please do not think that the reasons are purely political processes or our desires to affect the Commission or stop it. Absolutely not. We all deeply believe that the Commission must select the best candidate out of those who have applied, but we need to do it in a lawful way. That is why we're here today. We're in Kyiv, we're taking part in the session of the Commission. But as we explored, studied the dossiers of the candidates, we did it in detail, and we are thankful to everyone who collected this information from the open sources. We noticed that at least 3 candidates have more or less, deeper or not, still they have some connections with the aggressor state, with the Russian Federation, to some degree. Well, we could not take it into account if we lived in another time. For example, during the first phase of the war, before the full-scale invasion. Maybe at some point in the future, we will not take it into account either. But today, in the course of the big war, when the survival of the Ukrainian political nation and the Ukrainian statehood is at stake, we must be as careful as possible to avoid, at any cost, recommendation to the position of a person who is affiliated with Russia in some way or another. That is why we believe that the only source for verification of information that has the highest possible authority and that could check possible, and I want to stress this word, possible connections of candidates with Russia, is the Security Service of Ukraine. This is the only source of such information. The information that has been found by our experts from OSINT, from open sources, yes, it can be true or not. It can be full or not. We know that about 3 candidates for now, and we pray that this number does not increase. And the Commission approached the Security Service of Ukraine with a request. The General Maluk, the head of the Security Service, sent us a reply from the 24th of May 2025. He sent a letter to the Commission, and we were informed on the 5th of June about this letter, so 11 days after the letter left the premises of SPU.
I'm sorry, I have to make a clarification here. Indeed, the letter is dated 24th of May, but the letter was sent to us on the 5th of June from the Cabinet of Ministers. It is important to have the dates properly set. And since I took the floor, let me just a little bit give some elements, some timetable, so that our viewers understand the discussion. So the candidates for the interviews were announced on the 7th of April. We have sent a letter to the SVU on the 22nd of April, asking for potential information they may have on the candidates. The special vetting was concluded for all the candidates on the 15th of May, and all of them passed. Then we received a letter from the SBU saying that they need more time on the 5th of June. And we have replied to the SBU in the morning of the 6th of June, as you all know, because we agreed to write back. And we asked for information to be delivered to the Commission by Monday at midday. Also intending to hold the interviews and have the letter from the SBU before we make a final decision. This is just as a matter of clarification of dates. Yeah, sorry to have interrupted you. Please continue.
Я вам щиро дякую. Ну, я просто
Thank you very much. I was looking at the dates on the letter, and I looked when we received it, and try to understand when and everything happened. I mean, I didn't know that this letter was received on the 5th of June. I thought if the letter was dated the 24th of May, then it was sent on the 24th. But apparently, it's not the truth. So the head of the security service said that they require additional time. I quote, to create necessary conditions for the verification of candidates, to check their compliance with the requirements for the position of director of Bureau of Economic Security, to ensure the completeness of information. The checking, the verification of information requires more time. I fully understand that in our situation, any delays, any postponements of the selection will have negative consequences. Let's be frank here. It will have social, political, reputational, adverse effects, and other type of consequences. However, I believe that such risks of such consequences are absolutely admissible in view of the risk that we can possibly avoid if we wait until the answer of the SBU is received. And the risk that I mean is to avoid recommending a person who may have connections that we are not aware of at the moment. I mean, connections with the state of aggressor state. So my position is we need to take a break now, not suspend the selection, not cancel it. No, I mean, we need to complete the selection, but we need to carry out the interviews only after we receive the information from the Security Service of Ukraine. Thank you. This is it on my end.
Thank you very much, Yuri, for expressing your concerns. I would like to note just a few things. I don't know why the letter was sent to us on the 5th of June, but that's when we received it, on the 5th of June. So 13 days later, after it was written and dated. 13 days within which the SBU did not send additional information to the Commission. Also, the letter from the SBU does not indicate any deadline by which we will receive the additional potential information. That's why I think my position is that I'm uncomfortable delaying the process without a clear expectation of when we may be able to actually receive additional information from the SBU. We have all agreed to write to the SBU and ask for the information that they have by midday on Monday, which would have given them 17 days from the day when they sent the letter, allegedly. And that is a month and a half from the 27th of April, 22nd of April, which is the date when we sent our initial letter to the SBU. Now, I understand the concerns. I think in other procedures, there were similar concerns with regard to some of the candidates. Those concerns were raised during the interviews, and the candidates were offered the possibility to explain and clarify the doubts. I want to stress that neither of us wants to appoint or to suggest the appointment of people that have big question marks, either to their integrity, regarding their assets, or with regard to allegiance to the enemy state of Ukraine, right? So we clarify all these questions in the interviews, and we have done that before in other competitions. And we're here to select the best out of the proposed candidates, out of the candidates that made it to the final stage. And I think we do have valuable candidates that meet the integrity criteria and don't have ties with the aggressor state. That being said, I would like to open the floor for our colleagues for additional views. I see Donatas. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. So basically, talking about what Yuri have said and our Ukrainian colleagues has said in the very beginning, that maybe in the other times we would not take into account this information. I would should affirm you that in all the times we should take all the information, especially when it relates to aggressors such as Russia, which this problem will remain for probably for years to come. So it's not only the timing of a war, but just in general. Talking about the dates, really, you know, the official list of those 16 candidates we're going to have interviews with was officially announced like 2 months ago. So basically, really, SBU had a lot of time to do some research on those candidates. Moreover, we received a vetting response for vetting, which means in where also SBU had taken part on 15th of May with no objection to any candidate whatsoever. So that means that up till the 15th of May, there was no information for SBU available, and all candidates were vetted. So I also want to emphasize that the Commission only recommends to the decision takers to appoint the candidate, which Commission believes is the best. So even this information, so that meaning that this information by SBU can be provided even later after we made a decision, because this new information about any candidate can show up in any given time. You know, nobody controls 100% information, even SBU. Nobody controls it. So even if SBU is vetted today, that as of today somebody has no relations to, let's say, Russia or any other floors, that doesn't mean that tomorrow there will be new information, because information is a live thing. You know, it comes in every day. So basically, what is important, that we are taking decision based on the information we have today, and based on information which is available today, and just to feel good about the decisions that we make. So I believe we should continue the work of a commission, continue with the interviews, and if the SBU has some additional
recording stopped
received from the 15 till up to date, so they have plenty of time up until the decision makers will make a decision to appoint our recommended candidate, to provide this information to decision makers. And if it's a really trustworthy and really 100% reliable information, decision makers can explain to the public that, sorry,
recording in progress,
this information, and therefore we cannot appoint the candidate recommended by the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Oleg?
Пані Лауро, дозвольте. Шановні колеги, шановні
Colleagues,
декілька думок з приводу
viewers, a couple of points on this matter on mind. I fully share the position of Yuri. I have also signed this request, but a couple of points about our discussion. As Ms. Laura says that there was similar discussion during previous selection procedures, there was also some reservations about other candidates, but I'm not prepared to say whether a similar request to the SBU was sent in the past. My official position is that we must respond to what we received from SBU, because the verification, the special check, so to called, that has been carried out only establishes some technical criteria that the candidates meet, for example, access to state secret. But the enhanced information, the information that is not available in state registers or other sources, can be obtained only as part of additional check. And indeed, since we received this letter only on the 5th of June, we had no time, and our colleagues were on the way to Kyiv. We could not inform the candidates. We could not change our decision. We came here, we started the session, we started our discussion, but unfortunately the situation is still there. Why is it important to wait until the information is provided? Because after the Commission recommends the candidate, there are only 10 days to appoint the candidate. This is the requirement of the law. We can create a situation when we will oblige to appoint a person regarding whom information can later appear about his or her possible allegiance with Russia. We can't take those risks. That is why I support the need to discuss possible options of our further work, but with due regard to the information that we may receive from the SBU. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oleg. Just a clarification. In the letter that we sent to the SBU on the 22nd of April, we asked for any relevant information. We did not limit ourselves in the letter that we sent to them to any kind of law that refers precisely or solely at vetting processes. So on the 22nd of April, we asked the SBU to provide all the information available that they can share, because of course we're not kids. We understand that sometimes not all the information can be shared with the Commission. So if they had any information to share, they already were invited on the 22nd of April to share it. Also, their letter is dated 24th of May. Yes, we received it on the 5th of June, but it seemed to have left their office on the 24th of May. So again, 13 days passed, and we still don't have any information on our table. My concern is that without a clear deadline on their end, there's very little predictability to our process. We already, as Yuri has indicated, in our research, we already saw that with regard to some of the candidates, there are concerns. Maybe substantiated, maybe just concerns, incipient concerns that we can discuss with them in the interviews. We should tell everybody that our first candidate is waiting outside the door to be invited for the interview. I think it looks very bad for the work of this commission not to continue with the interviews that were announced some days already before, and changing this decision on the day of the interviews is really problematic in my opinion, and it creates reputational damages for the commission, unfortunately. I turn to our colleagues online, Tatiana and Jim. Yes, please, Donato.
Just before we turn to our colleagues online, just to react what's been said. So basically, one of the arguments made by Oleg was access to the state secret, and that during this special vetting only the access to the state secret is evaluated. But I should say I would be very surprised if SBU would grant an access to somebody who has relations with Russia. So that would be just a very bad thing, you know, almost imaginable. Another thing is that the possible information about the possible ties of any person with Russia can show up on the next day of appointment or after the 2 days. So the state of Ukraine should have protocols and processes in place how to receive this verified information about the people who already taken the positions. Yeah, so I believe the state of Ukraine has those processes, as we heard, that some of high-ranking officers have been removed because of their ties. So that means those processes are in place. So basically, I'm really agree with Laura, because it really leaves a bad taste in the mouth for all of society, looking what is happening there, and because especially we should not fool ourselves. We're not postponing if we will make this decision, the commission, because with postponing, we would know the other date when we would receive this information. As for now, in the letter of SBU, there is no any particular date when this information can be provided. Therefore, it more looks as like a terminating or freezing or suspension the work of a commission for the unknown period of time. And it really looks very, very bad because of some interference of SBU. We're waiting. The work of a commission is paralyzed. Okay, thank you.
So if we have interventions from Jim or Tatiana who are online, let me just remind you that this selection process is also a benchmark in the agreement with the IMF. The deadline is end of July. I think we would have been quite well placed to meet this deadline if we were to have had the interviews as scheduled, today, tomorrow, and the day after. With this potential suspension, sine die, we really cannot guarantee that the process will be concluded and that the benchmark will be met. Jim or Tatiana?
May I,
Please.
Laura? Yes, I guess I'm kind of a veteran of selection processes, and I must say I'm really quite horrified at the way this has turned out in the last 12 hours. We had this discussion already on Friday morning, all of us, at which we agreed to ask the SBU, which has had, as we've just learned, 6 or 7 weeks to reply, irrespective of the fact that they sent a letter on the 22nd or 25th or whatever it is of May, and still haven't replied, even though this has been pending for quite a long time, and they left it open-ended, which is very odd as far as I'm concerned. And so we'd agreed. We've now had a 180-degree change in that opinion. Candidates are waiting. This is shameful. And while I understand the need for having complete dossiers, if we are stuck at this moment in this problem, I would urge that we raise this to the highest levels, to have an intervention at the highest levels of the Ukrainian government to make sure that there is a firm and early date for a complete reply by the SBU, so that there is, since this delay seems to be upon us, embarrassingly, that we do our best through interventions also of those external actors, friends of Ukraine, that also want to see this get done expeditiously to ensure we have all the information as soon as possible and can resume our work.
Пані Лауро, дозвольте декілька слів.
Just a couple of words from my side. Yes, I agree that we have discussed this before. We also discussed the possible interviews taking place. and the colleagues will support me. We had a clear position, at least I had it, that we need this information extremely. As for the fact that candidates are waiting for the interview, I will repeat, we did not have an opportunity to officially define the dates of the interviews. As my colleagues have been traveling, we could not discuss this. The only platform to announce our position was today. We, that's why, prepared this motion to the Commission. And of course, we have different views on this motion. We are the citizens of Ukraine, and we have our national interests here. This is not our personal position. We have received the respective information. Information is changing. The aggressor is hiring our officials, involves them into different activities, and we can't say that the security service had enough of days to reply. We can't explain this response, but let's wait for it. Let's look at the information we will receive. And once again, the interviews and defining the winner can pose serious risks to the country. As of now, we have an opportunity to consider of postponing the interviews. After the candidates will be appointed, there will be no such opportunity because we have our strict rules and regulations, and we should not neglect this information and this motion. Thank you.
May I ask you a concrete question? So let's say that we are considering your suggestion to postpone the interviews. Until when do we postpone them? How long are we waiting for a potential answer from DSB?
Пані Лаура, дякую.
Thank you for your question. On Friday, we have prepared a letter. We are waiting for the answer from SBU by Wednesday. That is the deadline that we set on Monday. Correct me if I'm wrong, it was Monday evening.
No, we said Monday midday. So they are supposed, I mean, this is what our request was, that they submit information to us, any information that they have, by Monday midday. And we didn't hear back from them saying this is a good deadline, or we need more time, or we will reply to you, or we won't reply to you.
В будь-якому випадку ми будемо орієнтуватись.
In any case, we are going to focus on the request we sent. We ask them to provide clear deadlines. We ask them to provide us with clear position on which we can count, for which we can count, and because of which we can plan our work. At least we have to receive a response from them, a clear one.
Okay, so am I to understand that your position is we wait until the end of Monday? If we receive an answer, we have a meeting, we consider it, and we set new deadline, new interview dates. And if we don't receive an answer, what do we do? I want to understand how you're seeing this thing.
Якщо ми не отримуємо
If we do
інформацію,
not receive any information,
моя така позиція,
my position would be the following. At least it gives us an opportunity to continue our work and to proceed with our interviews, but only after we receive a reply from the SBU, an official one.
можливо, колеги, пан Юрій,
Maybe Mr. Yuri will share his opinion in this regard.
I just, before Mr. Yuri will take a microphone, just very quickly. So basically, take into the consideration argument Oleg says, so we can basically proceed with doing interviews, and on Monday, because we will make a decision on the candidate on Tuesday. So on Monday, we either receive an information and we will include this information into our decision making, even if it's going to be after the interviews, but because there will not be any point of if the SBU will send us the information and this person, is an agent, let's say, of Russia. So there is no point, asking this into official meeting because we already know this information. Yeah, and it doesn't really matter what this candidate will say. We trust the SBU, and so we can act according to this information. So wherever, if a deadline is a Monday, so we were making decisions all on Tuesday. So that means we are perfectly fine with continuing the interviews and then making the decision based on the information we will have. Because I just wanted to remind you that not today, not tomorrow, we will not make a decision on the candidate. We only make a decision when we will speak with all the candidates. Yeah, and we have a discussion here online, and we're gonna select the best one. So I believe this is also a good way forward, and I would really support this idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we haven't heard from Tatiana, unless Yuri wants to take the floor right now. Maybe we go to Tatiana first, and then we come back to Yuri. Да? Tatiana.
Доброго дня.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dear colleagues,
Я теж занепокоєна такою ситуацією.
I also have my own concerns, but I agree and support my Ukrainian colleagues that without the conclusions of the respective official bodies, given the information from the SBU, because SBU has the responsibility to provide information on time, my opinion would be to wait for the official reply from SBU. Dear colleagues, we had one round of discussions already. Everybody has already expressed their positions, opinions. They are all clear. We need to find the common points between us and to make a common decision. One commission cannot have two separate decisions. Anyways, we need to make a justified and a common decision. What are our common points? Where do we agree? We are agreeing. First of all, we need to conduct a legal competition. After competition, we should not feel embarrassed. We should not be embarrassed while looking in the eyes of the citizens. We should not create potential for any claims to the court, and we need to recommend a proper candidate. Also, we all think that our decision can be possible on the basis of complete and trustworthy information. We are all experienced managers, and we all understand the more complete information is, the more trustworthy decision is, and the less complete, the less reliable decision we can make. Also, this competition has to be conducted as soon as possible without any unjustified postponing of it or delays. So let's try and find a common solution to this problem. First, we need information from SBU. This information would give us an opportunity to take the correct legal decision in the interest of our country. And thank you, Oleg, for saying that maybe our citizens look at the problems differently. That's why we have to make correct decision. When SBU provides this information and we don't have a clear deadline, and of course we cannot demand and set the deadline for him to submit this information, the Commission is not authorized to do it. We need also to respect it and to wait for information to come. If we continue and proceed with interviews today, and I'm ready for that, I'm here, I've come, I have processed the dossiers of all the candidates. The candidates are waiting, so we can start But let's weigh the risks. If we don't know something about the candidate today, and tomorrow we will get information from SBU, and today this candidate will take part in the interview live, and by the results of the interview, everybody will be happy and there will be an impression that he is an ideal candidate. But tomorrow we will get information that he has some ties with Russian Federation. It will be a problem. That's why we need to find a common solution and commonly decide. It should be a consensual decision, of course. So the best way to go, in my opinion, will be to wait for the complete information from SBU and then to start with the interviews. But if my colleagues will agree that the interviews should be conducted today, I will be ready to support them and I will take part in the interviews. But let me repeat, to have the full picture about every candidate, we need to wait for the answer from SBU. And again, it's not just a simple information from a bank about his financial status, about his accounts or the taxes he pays. I'm talking now about the information, important information from SBU and the possible ties with Russian Federation. So let's weigh the value of this information. We can't continue and proceed with interviews if we were missing information about the bank accounts. But in my opinion, the information we are talking about today is much more important. Thank you.
Just very short remarks based on what Mr. Yuri said. So one thing we mentioned that we cannot set the deadlines as a commission. I believe we must. This is why we are here, because we have deadline set by IMF when the selection should be finished and when we should propose when the candidate should be appointed. So we are the one who are running the process. Not somebody else is running the process or giving us the deadlines, but we are responsible for that. Also, just to repeat it once again, that it will never be the time when somebody have like 100% information. There always new information. Believe me, I worked a lot with criminal intelligence information. New information can come tomorrow. Today you think that this is this way, and information received tomorrow changes everything and changes your plan, changes the perception about how you see people. So the full information will never be enough. The SBU had enough time to provide this information, and if they will receive any information in the future, there are still some protocols how to use this information in the future and how to get rid of the people. I know that we would feel embarrassed as a commission if we would appoint somebody who would have a bad reputation. Yes, but you know, the strengths of all the managers and people who make a decision, and at this point in 3 days, we will need to make a decision based on information which is available. You will never have 100% information. You always have like from, let's say, 60 to 80, but you need to be able to make a decision based on the information you have. Thank you so much.
Пані Лауро, дозвольте декілька слів.
Please let me give a response to Mr. Donatas. I fully agree that we will not have exhaustive information, of course, ever. There is always going to be new information that will be obtained, but we still need an answer. You say they had plenty of time. Well, colleagues and viewers, I believe that no one has any doubts what kind of hard work the SBU has been conducting all this time. We can see the results of their operations, but this is only what we can see and what we can learn. And we have no right to judge them, of course. But once again, I want to repeat myself. receiving information before interviews is highly important, because I believe that based on this information, we may need to ask candidates specific questions. We may need to clarify, specify certain their possible allegiance with Russia. So I think we need to wait until we receive the answer. We have done everything for that. We have sent our letter, and I do hope that they can answer us within the deadline that we have set. Only after that can we start interviews based on the full, complete, objective information to avoid any possible risks. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleg. And thank you, Donatas. Thank you, everybody. Jim, Tatiana, would you like to contribute anything to the current discussion? Because I think we will have to somehow move towards making a decision. Again, our first candidate is waiting outside the door. We have no indication of whether DSBU will reply tomorrow or will set a different deadline. I think we owe it to the candidates to be transparent but also predictable. We cannot keep them in a limbo. They also travel, they have their lives, they also have their jobs, because most of them have a current employment. Jim, I see that maybe you wanted to intervene.
I would, this is I understand the concern that has been raised very much by our Ukrainian colleagues. And it's very unfortunate that we have this open-ended situation with the SBU, and I'm not sure that it is wise to proceed with the interviews without this critical information, but I'm prepared to do so in any case.
Thank you. So, dear colleagues, the way I propose to go about it is to actually have a vote on whether we continue the interviews as scheduled. So first of all, I know it's a bit artificial after having all this discussion, but we'll have to check the quorum. So I see all 6 members of the commission present, either live or in person or online. But let's go one by one. Jim?
I vote for having the interviews.
No, we're not voting yet, just say
I'm
present.
I'm here.
Which obviously you are. Tatiana?
Так, я присутня.
I am here, yes.
Yuri? Donatas?
Present.
Oleg?
Присутній.
And I'm present. So we have a quorum. We have 6 members of our commission present. As you know, we have 2 conditions for having these meetings. We have a condition of quorum, and then decisions can be made with a majority. The quorum is met for this meeting. And now let me propose to you to actually vote for the continuation of the interviews as scheduled. And we'll go one by one. Jim?
I
So
vote
the
to
proposal
proceed.
is to continue the interviews as scheduled. In favor or against? Jim?
In favor.
Thank you. Tatiana?
Я голосую проти.
I vote against the motion.
Against. Bear with me. Yuri?
Я голосую проти.
I vote against.
Can you repeat, please? I wasn't...
I vote against the
Я
motion.
голосую проти.
I vote
Ми
against.
повинні дочекатися.
I think we need to wait.
Donatas?
I'm voting in favor.
Oleg?
Я голосую проти.
I vote against. I already explained my position, we need to wait.
And I vote in favor. So we are in a complicated situation with 3 versus 3. The law envisages this possibility, and it says that when we have a tie, the decision, the vote of the internationals proceed, the vote of the nationals, and the decision is deemed to have been taken 24 hours from now. Again, the decision will be taken, but it will be taken tomorrow. So de facto, we won't be able to start the interviews. And in any event, even after this decision is deemed to be taken, we will need to re-announce the interviews. These are the legal limitations that we have to live with. Food for thought for the lege ferenda interventions in the future. So I think with this, we can conclude the session of today. We will inform the candidates that the interviews will not take place. And let's hope that by tomorrow midday, we will have an answer from the SBU. And then we'll be able to reschedule the interviews as soon as possible, because I think we are all, even though the vote is split, we are all here to work in the best interest of Ukraine, which is also to meet the international requirements. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. I'm sorry we are in this position. It's not a pleasant day, but let's hope we can come back and finish this procedure in a satisfactory manner. Thank you very much.